Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon as we roll along here. As there are some issues with the weather, we'll keep you up to date with that. Severe thunderstorms all over the place, lots of flooding, and we'll try to keep you up to date with that as we roll along this afternoon right here on the rundown. All right, so my stack of stuff today includes, what do I have? Oh, there's lots of talk about women's basketball and how certain games got to be, including the championship game, drew some big numbers. I'm going to tell you how we can get more people to watch women's basketball and it not be Dawn Staley's team or Gino Auriemma's team. I'll tell you how to do that later on. I'm in a fixing mood today is what I'm in today. Billy Napier is crying out. What is Billy Napier crying out for? We'll tell you about that. And we also have a new set for the bookcase of accountability. We're going to do over and under for projected wins for ACC teams this season. And what else do I have? Oh, I got to start, though, as we wrap the college basketball season. Now, bear with me for just a second. I'm not going to take too much time on this, but just something I want to make everyone aware of. Kansas won the national championship last night. Congratulations to the Jayhawks. We don't argue with hardware here. They were the team that won the tournament. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but here's what I do understand. No current player on the Jayhawks roster was part of the allegations that or the violations that have come up against Bill Self. But I want to remind you of something. Bill Self and Kansas are facing 5 level 1 violations from the NCAA. Now, they should have had this all wrapped up by now because in reality, if you look at it, a lot of the violations came with stuff from Adidas, and we'll get to that in a moment. But here's the thing. A lot of that with NIL probably would be okay at this point. Now, I'm not taking anything away from what Kansas did because they are a trash program as far as the way that they run things. And I'll give you some examples of why they are such trash in just a moment. But here's the big thing with that. Kansas is facing those 5 violations. I am not a fan of Will Wade, but his team was facing the exact same thing. And what did he get? Shown the door. Okay? Essentially the same type of stuff. Giving players money that, to come to your program. But a couple of things here. This is more about the NCAA as well. The NCAA is dragging their feet on this investigation, and they take forever and ever and ever. Let's make sure that we put this out there. 2 of the bagmen from Adidas, Jim Gatto and Merle Code, woke up yesterday in a federal prison serving out sentences for their part in providing money to former Jayhawk recruits and their families to bring them to play in Lawrence. A third guy, TJ Gaznola, is a convicted felon. He avoided being locked up because he was a canary and he sang away. Now, here's the worst part. These guys were just bagmen. They were trying to be basically a liaison between Kansas and Adidas. Here's the thing. Self, in a text message, wrote to Gaznola, quote, "I'm happy with Adidas, just got to get a couple of real guys." Gaznola wrote back to him, in my mind, it's KU Bill Self, noting that the pecking order of Kansas is in front of other programs such as Louisville and NC State. They were helping. Everyone else will fall into line. Self says that's how it works at UNC and Duke. Okay? Now, why am I telling you all of that? Because the reality is that Kansas won the national title last night, but their coach, according to this, cheated big time. When they were playing last night, what was it, one shining moment? We didn't hear anything about that. All we heard was, Kansas wins. And they were playing a team that had a high number of athletes take no show, no work academic classes for over a decade at North Carolina. The NCAA said it wasn't under its enforcement where they could do something to them. Then what is your job, NCAA? Make sorry ass commercials making us think that you care about the athletes? No, your job is to collect a check. Emmert, by the way, said, "Oh yeah, I agree. This is taking longer than it's supposed to." Well, you're running the organization, sir. How about make a couple of calls and say, guess what? If you can't figure out what's going on, then you're fired. And I'll find somebody else who can get this stuff fixed. That's the way that it should be. But until then, college basketball is now a complete failure. And you know what? I hate to say it, but the NCAA football is going to kind of go the same way too. And a lot of it's got to do with the NIL and, of course, now with the way that players can move in and out. I'm not saying players shouldn't get paid. I'm just saying the way that we had it before, where everyone loved it, yeah, it's not going to be that way anymore. It's not going to be that way anymore. So as a fan, you're going to have to determine, can you deal with that? Can you get in behind your team and just support whoever wears the uniform? Or are you going to be someone that you're going to latch onto a player and that player is going to end up in the mix to go somewhere else? Daddy-O with a good comment. Good to see the Kansas City Jayhawks won last night. That's from Mark Emmert. I think he tweeted that out. But, yeah, he doesn't even know where Kansas is. You know? I don't know, man. It's a mess. It's a mess. But anyway, that's where we are with basketball. I just wanted to kind of put a wrap on the season, and it's not going to get any better. I hate to be doom and gloom, but it's not going to get any better. If you want to call up and talk about that, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I want to talk about Billy Napier in Florida really quick before I get into the ACC projections for the season. And Billy Napier put out there, and this was last Thursday, when he was addressing the transfer portal, here's what he said. Quote, "The University of Florida is going to be very aggressive in the portal. We need players." Here's what I like about that. Admitting that, hey, we do need players. He didn't come off with this line of, well, we've got a lot of talented players here, and we think that they're ready to go out there and make the University of Florida proud. You know what? Under that logic, why didn't they make them proud last season when they got their butts handed to them by what, UCF in a game? I mean, let's be honest. Florida has ducked UCF for years because they don't want to schedule anybody outside of the conference because they are so silly down there that they think playing, I don't know, insert, what was it, Georgia Southern went in there and beat them without completing a pass. Yeah, they can come to the Swamp, but we're not going anywhere. That's the logic that they have down there. So anyway, but I thought that was something that was different from a coach. Yes, he knows going in with what he's got, he may not win 6 games. He knows he's going to need some help. Knows he is going to need some help. I think more coaches should be honest like that. Just stop with the nonsense of, we've got players here. No, you don't. Players you got there lost the game to UCF and lost the fight afterwards that they started. So there's that. 803-978-1832. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
The season hasn't even started yet, and you're already talking crazy.
Hold on, sir. Respectfully. Hold on. Respectfully, sir. Do you have a problem with Billy Napier coming out there and saying, hey, we need some more talented players? Or do you think that you can go
all right. Florida's going to be okay.
Okay.
Season hasn't even started. I don't care what he say.
Okay.
And you're harping on Georgia Southern. That's something happened 10 years ago. That's done. Under the water.
Sure.
No doubt.
No doubt. All right. Well, I'm sorry that your pick last night was wrong. I told everybody bet the world on Kansas because you were picking
Yeah,
North Carolina. So
yeah,
we're not
they
supposed to
choked.
talk about that. That's done too. Don't talk about that.
That's choked. They choked last night. Oh yeah, you can talk about it. They choked.
I wonder if it had anything to do with their coach that you were after, man. You were in love with their coach yesterday. You think he could have stopped
No,
them
I
from
wasn't in
choking?
love with him. I just wanted to see him win.
Yeah, well, he
It didn't
didn't.
happen. He didn't.
He didn't.
What you got to say about the Carolina Coliseum packed out with fans for Don stealing the team yesterday? I don't hear nothing about it.
Once again, I talked about this yesterday. You might have missed it. I don't argue with hardware. She has 10 All-American, McDonald's All-Americans on her team. They should have won the national title. The crazy thing is, I don't know how they lost a game. It's probably the most
Well, you know it
talented.
happened like that. Sometimes you get complacent.
They're probably the most talented women's team ever with 10 All-Americans on the roster.
No doubt. And it's probably going to be the same thing next year.
Yeah, they're great and they're awesome. And we don't argue with hardware. Dawn Staley is a hell of a coach. And
that's right.
I'm just more stunned they lost 2 games than anything.
Yeah, well, both of those games was lost more than 1 or 2 points. It is what it is, though.
Well, fair enough with that. But you don't like what Billy Napier said about, hey, Florida is going to be aggressive in the transfer portal. You don't like that?
Oh, everybody
what they got?
That's what's going on now. That's what's everybody uses the transfer portal.
Well, I hope you enjoy that 6-win season next year because if they don't get any transfers, that's about where they're at.
It won't happen.
Yeah, you're right. They might win 5. They might win 5 games.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna make you eat your words, Jack.
Eat my words about anything, man. You've been getting your face kicked in here forever. You were 1-14 against Georgia. You said Duke was winning the national title. Then you took off your Duke tube top and put on a North Carolina tube top, and then they got beat down, man. You're like Drake. Drake went and he goes to NBA teams, and then they end up falling off the face of the planet. You're the SEC version of Drake. No one wants you to be a fan of them because they end up failing.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
You're not a Braves fan, are you? Are you a Braves fan? I used to be. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're not anymore because I think the Braves could go back to back.
I doubt it.
Book it. Braves win.
All right.
Have a good day, man. Thank you. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Hollywood calls in and his predictions are wrong a lot. And then he doesn't want to talk about them because they're history, which is kind of funny. As always, I appreciate Hollywood joining the program. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Feel free to call if you want to talk about Billy Napier sending out the bat signal, basically, for Florida. We quote, the University of Florida is going to be very aggressive in the portal. We need players. He's basically going the route of, man, I've got a lot of holes to fill, and I'm going to go to the transfer portal to fill them. It's basically the way that's working out. If you're a Florida fan, you should like that because you know what? He is not striving for mediocrity. He wants to do better than 6-6 and losing the game and the fight afterwards to Central Florida. He wants to do better than that. So maybe that's he's blunt, but hey, if you're a Florida fan, that's great. That's great. Still think you're winning 6 or 7 games this year, unless he revamps the entire team before May 1st. TikTok, sir. TikTok. Because after May 1st, it doesn't matter. Got to get him in now. All right, taking your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on The Rundown this afternoon, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. We appreciate folks calling in and putting their opinions out there. If you want to talk about Kansas and the fact that they are a school that you're going to hear more about the violations that they have than you will about their national title that they just won, we'll take calls on that too. 803-978-1832. B Bean says, Rob, I think you have Florida and Clemson's records confused. Sir, I tell you what, if you're implying that you think that Clemson is going to be a 6-6 football team this year? I can't help you. I can't help you. I honestly can't help you. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good, which I tweeted out, was it last night or this morning? Kansas has 4 national titles in basketball. If they win one more, they'll match the number of sanctions, level 1 sanctions they have in the NCAA coming. So there's that. Goals, Kansas. Goals. Have the same amount of national titles as you do level 1 violations. Way to go, Kansas. NCAA may send their stuff to, what is it? Where they say they're going? Somewhere other than Lawrence. More of the Rundown. We come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Kansas had a good team. North Carolina did choke, by the way. It is like choking weather out here, man. There you go, Alan. Enjoy your beach trip, sir. What beach are you at? They're doing great. They're hairless and they're guinea pigs. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the show.
Rob, first of all, I want to thank Hollywood for sticking to sports today. As senile and pathetic as he is, I do appreciate him not getting political on us. On to the next line of losers, Mr. Billy Napier. I understand what he is saying, but do you not think it's kind of a way of prepping the fan base for a mediocre year? Couldn't it be taken as kind of a passing the buck type of statement?
Well, to quote another great coach another great Florida coach, in your mind anyway, in Will Muschamp, his first year at South Carolina, when they lost to South Florida in a bowl game, he said in the post game, hey, if you're a defensive player and you're a defensive end and can rush the passer, we need you here at South Carolina. That's how we're going to fix things, is through recruiting. So maybe he's going by just that method. Maybe there's something in the water in Gainesville that can screw folks up. I don't know.
Yeah, was it Muschamp's second year? I think they lost one game all year. Was that his second year or third year?
They lost more than one game. So, but don't go in there with
if you count the bowl game, but the season was pretty much over at that point. But yeah, they lost one regular season game. But
they went like they didn't go to 11-1. What are you talking about? Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about at Florida. Okay, at Florida.
Florida.
Yeah. That was the year they had all of that defense, and the offense was terrible. They had a great defense, though. They really did.
Yeah, well, he's a defensive genius, so what do you expect? You know.
Sure.
But no, I kind of take it as a way of kind of softening the blow for what he knows is coming this year. I don't know how many fans out there or if you kind of took it that way, but that's the way I read into it.
Well, I mean, I don't know about what they're going to be projected to do, but I mean, I think 6 wins is, if they do that, hey, more power to them. But I think that everybody that's left, and I don't know if there's people that are on fire with the culture that's down there now, but he's got a lot of work to do because old Mullen there kind of screwed everything over.
Yeah, and they've got a tougher than average schedule. I know you're going to say it's the SEC easy, which is Hollywood type nonsense in my book, but they do have A&M, who has got a brilliant head coach over there. Probably stand no chance in that one. They'll be lucky if Jimbo doesn't break the clock on them and go triple digits with that offense.
Florida might win that game. they might. It wouldn't surprise me.
You're
Look,
a little late.
They're on the whole thing. Like, what was it last year? Didn't Mississippi State get Texas A&M? I mean, 4 teams beat Texas A&M last year, but they did beat Alabama though. So congratulations.
You're a little late with the April Fool's joke there, Rob. Even you can't possibly be that slow.
Nobody thought Mississippi State would beat them last year, and the Pirate, I'm pretty sure, beat them. I mean, he's got a less than winning record against the Pirates, so there's that.
Rob, as Hollywood says, that's over with. That's over with.
It's over with. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, but they got LSU as usual. LSU is going to pound them into the dirt. Georgia's going to leave them with basically a mash unit when that game's over. They've got a tough year coming.
I can agree just simply based on the fact of, I mean, they need a lot of players. They need a lot.
Yeah.
Richardson's supposedly the quarterback there. And if, I mean, he didn't really impress me much last year. He threw a ton of picks.
Yeah, he did. He threw enough in that the end of the first half of the Georgia game to last him a lifetime, by the way. So
probably
did. Despite that 11-1 record that Hollywood predicted, I think they've got a tough year. I'm gonna leave you with 43-18, Rob.
Appreciate it, man. You have a great day. I don't know why he leaves me with his locker combination for some reason. I don't know what that means, but some of the comments from the chat room, we can get to those in a moment. Let's go to the phones first. Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, it's Big Barney Ross. I just wanted to call in today and, well, first, congratulations to the Tennessee Vols coach, Rick Barnes, for getting Coach of the Year, and Kansas for winning the championship. The same guy that handed Bill the trophy will probably be taking it back in a few months. We do have a 25 square board, $25 gets you a square on what day it'll be, but I think Bill only cared about himself. But I can't complain too much because John Calipari is probably greaser in a Waffle House. But that whole thing, the whole game is just about like Stone Cold Stunner on McMahon on WrestleMania 38. Just a mess. Big Barney Ross. Don't think about it. I'm out.
All right. Well, let me help Big Barney Ross on this. You should pick the farthest date out on your $25 square pool, and I'll tell you why. Because none of the players that are on this team were actually implicated in the investigation. That's why it's drug on for so long. So I doubt this title will be taken away from Kansas, but I do believe, and I'll believe this forever, Bill Self is a crooked coach. And people don't want to hear that. You get basketball people that played and all that, and they'll tell you how great John Calipari is and Bill Self and all these guys. But it's a mess. And you know what? They're so desensitized to what a student athlete is supposed to be that they're just tough to listen to. They really, really are. But yeah, Bill Self is insane. And Kansas, by the way, remember this. They had to get rid of their athletic director and get rid of Les Miles because of the stuff that Les Miles did where he was creepy Les Miles. So they get rid of their athletic director. They gave Bill Self a lifetime contract before they found another athletic director. So that athletic director he has no, he can't even look at Self. I mean, he may not even be able to get into the box at the games there. Seriously. That's how much they think of the athletic director there. at Kansas. Yeah, we'll just give Bill Self a lifetime contract. And hey, if you're coming in and you got issues with that, well, too bad. He's got a lifetime contract. Sucks to be you. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Baylor man says facts. He hated both teams that played last night. 2 weasel programs. Yeah, I can buy into that. I mean, just the stuff from the past. How North Carolina basically gave away those degrees, and the NCAA is like, yeah, we can't do anything about it. How does that happen? What kind of attorney is that? That has to be the best attorney ever. The problem is that the NCAA didn't want to trample one of their blue bloods that might affect their ability to get a big time contract when it comes to TV. If they would have sanctioned North Carolina to the Stone Ages, where the only thing they could have had on the court was your best intramural squad. No. Give us the team that won second place. That's the way that if they would have done that, then CBS is like, oh, we have the NCAA tournament, but without North Carolina. Oh no, we don't want anything to do with that. 803-978-1832. Elijah says it's the same reason Bama never gets in trouble. Well, and here's the thing too. We're at the point now where the idea of having a bag man like Kansas had, who with those bag men right now, there's no way they can listen to this show because they're in a penitentiary. But the idea of a bag man is pretty much gone. You can pretty much under NIL, you can weave ways to get money to recruits, and there's not much anybody can do about it. Not much anybody can do about it. All right, we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Big Barney Ross also says they gave Kansas 5 years to pay the NCAA hush money, and they didn't, so now they're going to get sanctioned. Well, what do they? Bill Self's got a lifetime contract. He doesn't care. So there's that. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the rundown. I've got football projections we're going to do over and under with the ACC when I come back. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's funny. Bah! Big Barney Ross got his lower back tattoo. Hi, Beth. For folks that follow along with our bracket challenge, Beth Webb won the bracket challenge. Congratulations to Beth. Appreciate her playing. What are you looking? You're at the beach looking for Billy Cole, man? What's up with that? Y'all trying to get some hot tub time together, you Tennessee fans? Is that what y'all are doing? Yeah, I think they're stuck with Calipari. They're a Vol stake. I mean, they didn't even make him take calls on his final call-in show of the year. He just basically went on there, ran his mouth. I'm not going to take calls. I'm not going to take any questions either. It's the thing is that you SEC folks all have that tattoo, man. You run around sporting it. I automatically know if we're talking sports and it's with an SEC fan, it's right there. Don't even bother. It's a marker like back in the day, like when they would tattoo your social on your forehead if you were insane. For you SEC folks, it's just the lower back tattoo. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Folks are mocking me for talking about SEC lower back tattoos. The people that have the SEC lower back tattoos. Jay says he wants to paint a masterpiece on my back. What is wrong with you, Jay? Not into all that. Now they're calling it a tramp stamp. Very funny. Very, very funny. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. All right, so over and under for some ACC teams. We'll do the SEC teams later on. Let's start with Boston College. This article is from 247 Sports. They've got Boston College projected at 7. Over, under, or even? I think that's about even for Boston College, in my opinion. Some folks might think they might be a little bit higher, but I like Jerkovich at quarterback. Over and under is at 7. We'll get the vote from the chat room there. Over and under at 7 for Boston College. Okay. We'll have to see about that. They take on Maine, Florida State, Louisville before they play Clemson. They got road games against NC State and Notre Dame in November. So they may come out early. Let's see how that works out. The Pittsburgh Panthers projected win is at 9. Is that too high, too low, or you want to go even? Stephen A says under for the folks from Boston College. With Pitt, they're projected at 9. You know, they're losing Kenny Pickett. We'll see how that works out for them. Papa B also has Boston College under 7 as well. I think 9 might be a little high, maybe for Pitt. We got to see. I mean, they've got a new offensive coordinator. They've got a new quarterback. I don't care who he is. I think 9 is going to be a little high. Syracuse at 6. Oh man, I don't think we know much about Syracuse. I do think this is make or break for Dino Babers. If he doesn't go to a bowl game this year, yeah, they're not happening. It's not going to work. All right, the next one is Georgia Tech. They've got them at 3 wins. Wow. Here are the first 4 games of the season. Clemson, Western Carolina, Ole Miss, and UCF. Can you say 1 and 3? Just saying. Over the final 5 weeks of the year, they play Florida State, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, and Georgia, all away from Atlanta. A home game with Miami sandwiched in between all of that. I mean, wow. Tough. The Duke Blue Devils at 2. I think they're going to go over 2. I think their new coach, Mike Elo, will get them above 2 wins. We're not going to break down the Duke Blue Devils, but I think they'll get more than 2. Louisville at 6. You know, the seat might be getting hot for Coach Satterfield there, in my opinion, but I think the way their schedule sets up, I think 6 is about even for Louisville. By the way, we're keeping all of this on the bookcase of accountability. It's going to be up there for you as we roll along this season. I date all of this so we can come back and look at it. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons at they have them projected at 8. They play Clemson at home for their ACC opener at the end of September. They might be 3-0 at that time, but we'll see. Clemson just seems to have their number. 8 wins, I think, is about even. Virginia Tech is at 6. So I think that's going to be over, in my opinion. I think there's talent there. I think that they kind of checked out on Justin Fuente. And I think the way their schedule sets up, I think they win 7 games. The Virginia Cavaliers at 5 wins. They do have Brendan Armstrong, who is a good quarterback. They have a matchup with Coastal Carolina in late November before the finale of Virginia Tech. I think that's going to determine whether or not they get into the mix as far as a bowl game. All right, 803-978-1832. A couple more teams to look at here. We'll take a call first. Welcome into the rundown.
You have reached the central
What is that? You know what that was? Anyway, automated folks calling the program today. All right, finally, last couple of actually no, I've got more teams over here. Sorry, NC State, they've got them at 9 wins. I think they win 8 games. I'm just not buying NC State. I think Devin Leary is good, but they're going to end up faltering down the stretch. North Carolina Tar Heels are at 7 wins. I think that's about even. There's a lot of they've got a brutal stretch there. Notre Dame, Miami, Wake Forest, and NC State. That's pretty tough. Miami Hurricanes at 9. Is Mario Cristobal going to come in and sprinkle some dust on them and make them great? I don't know. Florida State at 6. If Florida State wins 6 games, Mike Norvell is going to have to find another job. So I think that for Mike Norvell's sake, they need to figure that out. Clemson is at 10 wins. As I'm sitting here right now, especially after the news we got from practice or from Dabo Sweeney yesterday, where Adam Randall, the talented young wide receiver from Myrtle Beach, has a torn ACL. I'm concerned with Clemson on the front of who's going to be their wide receivers. I do think, and I'll stand by this, as it looks right now, their schedule doesn't look very good. And what I mean by that is that it looks like they should be able to cakewalk their way through it and just lean on the fact that they've got one of the better defensive lines in college football and mow their way right through it. So I think 10 wins, I would probably go under with that for Clemson as it stands right now, because I'm not sure what they've got at quarterback. And people will tell me, but Rob, they've got DJ Uiagalelei. Yeah, they do. How'd that work out last year? Oh, he lost weight. He's been throwing the football around. That's great. Well, they got Klubnik from Texas. He hasn't taken a college snap yet. So there are more questions with Clemson than answers. That and the fact that their offensive line, they haven't really addressed that. Now, for dum-dums like Jay, who thinks Clemson's falling apart weekly, Clemson's won 10 games for I can't tell you how many years, 12 years in a row? They're one of the most consistent programs in college football. So go on with that. I don't think I'm not complaining about, and Clemson's not complaining about injuries either. I'm just saying it's not an issue of injuries. It's more about the quarterback with me. There are games where you watched Uiagalelei last year, and this is not a joke. He was hitting cheerleaders with passes. That's real. He was hitting cheerleaders with passes. I don't even know where to go from there. Until they figure that out, there's going to be some problems. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. If you want to join us here on the rundown, go over the ACC numbers there. We'll have the SEC numbers later on in the week. I think they're releasing them later on. But, yeah, those are fun to look at, too. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Don't forget Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk, the czar of Clemson Sports. He'll join us later on. Be sure to check out his program. We come back. I'm going to tell you, even if you don't like women's basketball, how you can watch, what can make you want to watch women's basketball. Yeah, there's that. I figured this out. I'm going to tell you. And you know what? When I do tell you, you're going to be like, I want to watch a women's basketball game. I'll tell you about that, and we'll take your calls on the over and under and how it looks like right now, in my opinion. I would take Clemson at under 10 wins. Of course, it is April the 5th. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Big Barney Ross says, what about DJ's hand size? I don't know if that matters, brother. I don't know if that matters or not. I mean, they're saying Kenny Pickett has his hands the size of a preschooler, and they're talking about him being a first-round draft pick. Maybe the hand size doesn't matter. Who knows? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you want to join us here on the rundown. We'll be right back on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I told you that the other day, Jay. You should listen more often. They're not on the schedule. Sorry. Oof. How dumb is Hunter Biden, by the way? Not to be political, but how in the world do you take your computer, knowing who your father is, to some local idiot to fix it? God, that guy's a dope. What a mess. Why would Ron Burgundy want to be you there, Big Barney Ross? That's funny. Crack. We'll highlight that for a minute. It's called crack, Rob. Very good, sir. Very good. That's some funniness right now. Should leave that there. Don't do crack. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world, the iHeartRadio app. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. If you want to call in about the ACC projections, we'll be happy to take those calls. Here's the big thing, though. I wanted to put this out there. I know a lot of people are not into women's basketball. I don't like watching women's basketball. I know how to get people to watch. And if you're listening, NCAA, you're always trying to figure out how to make more dollars. You say for the student athletes, but in reality, If you want women's basketball to draw even the most ardent person that's like, man, I don't like women's hoops, it's very simple. When you opened up the USA Today the other day, one of the first things that was at the top of the page when they were talking about the matchup was South Carolina and Connecticut was a line. South Carolina was a 4.5 point favorite in that matchup. So here's the thing. If you want people to care about women's sports, want people to care about them on that front, make sure that there are betting lines because people will bet on them. There are people that bet on Nintendo. Yeah. Nintendo, blah. Video games. I say Nintendo because I'm dated, but video games. People will bet on who's going to win the Madden Bowl. You're telling me they wouldn't bid on a Clemson-Boston College Thursday night matchup at Little John? Of course they would. So if you want women to be taken more seriously in sports, and they had every news source you can go and find right now, just Google it. They're going to tell you about the TV ratings are out for the NCAA Women's National Championship, and they'll tell you they reached 4.85 million viewers and peaked at 5.91 million viewers. And congratulations to them. That's awesome. But the reality is that if you want them to be more mainstream and you want equality, which is the big word here, if you want it to be equal, then set it up where you can get lines on those games where people can bet on them. There you go. I've donned my Superman cape today. That's how you fix the idea of getting some more money into women's basketball. More people will watch. You'll get more people watching simply based on the fact that they can bet. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Papa B says, with the women's games, it makes a whole new set of issues for the casino, like their boyfriends placing bets. It could make for a mess. You think that women don't place bets? I know a lot of degenerate women. Wait a minute, that didn't come out right. Oof. How about women that gamble and lose? Yeah, I'm friends with those folks. You think they couldn't like convince their boyfriend to possibly go and, you know, maybe shave a point here or there? Just saying. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on The Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I could read Billy's comment online here, but it would be oof. Very good comment, sir. Very good comment. I don't want to read that on the radio, but I agree with you, sir. Very good. Big Barney Ross wants to know if I know his ex-wives. How many of your ex-wives have you paid their gambling debt for there, buddy? Vodka Drinker says, shave a point. How about just shave? Are you mocking my beard? Come on now. That's not nice. Brandon says he's never voted, never been into politics. Most politicians are liars and corrupt. Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of, why is I was looking for, where is it? Oh, I wanted to read Brandon's comment again with the proper sound effect. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here, no. This is perfect for that. Oh, Brandon says, I've never voted before and never been into politics. Politicians are corrupt, liars, and corrupt. Now you know. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on The Rundown. I'm reading this comment because I want to see Big Barney Ross come slap me. He goes, I swear if I hear the term toxic masculinity one more time, I'm going to slap somebody. Well, find somebody and slap them. I recommend slapping Jay because Jay over there in the comments section needs to be slapped daily. So there you go with that. Anyway, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That's how you could fix it. Every sporting event, by the way, you should be able to bet on something. Tennis matches. How do you bet on tennis? How many double faults will they have in a tennis game? Over and under of 2. People would bet on it. People would bet on anything. Seriously. They have it set up now where you could bet on plays. Is it going to be a running play? Is it going to be a passing play? Seriously. That's how you fix it. There you go. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Megan says, and in itself is toxic masculinity. Of course, talking to Big Barney Ross. I'm in the camp of we need more toxic masculinity out there. Why not? Elijah says, Rob, do you need a Gamblers Anonymous meeting? No, I don't gamble like that. I don't gamble all that stuff, man. But I know people who do. Jay says, I love fish sticks. So who doesn't like fish sticks? What's wrong with you? Did you grow up in like an entitled house where you had the silver spoon in your mouth and your mom only fed you like, organic cottage cheese? That's probably what it was. You didn't grow up eating fish sticks. You don't know what it's like to be like that. 803-978-1832. Megan says, got to credit Rob. No one has ever accused him of displaying masculinity of any kind. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for that. I can't read Vodka Drinker's comment because that might get me in trouble. Jay says, for every safe space created, another octagon is built. Very good, sir. Very good. B Bean says, I thought I'm a caviar guy. No, not a caviar guy. Not at all. Not at all. Big Barney Ross says a donation of $14 billion has been made to Eastern Europe in your name. Thanks, Rob. Okay. Elijah says salmon patties are a core memory. My grandma used to make the salmon patties, like with the canned salmon. Man, that's some nasty nonsense. I almost dropped a curse word there because they are that bad. It's like, can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. LW's right with fish stick sandwiches. I remember getting some of those. Yep. You got the spoon in the silver spoon in the mouth people like Beg and Megan over there and Jay. What do they have in common? They're Georgia fans. They got silver spoons in their mouth. They've never dealt with any pain other than having to wait 40 years for a national title. Other than having to wait 40 years to hear this.
That is the end of the ball game. Final score, Georgia 33, Alabama 18.
Yeah, they've never had to deal with any of that. I mean, they had to wait for that. That was their biggest struggle in life. They weren't eating fish sticks and all that stuff. No, man. They call up here and you hear that's the sound of that silver spoon they still got hitting the phone. All right. Tomorrow on the rundown, we got, I think I'm going to have SEC win projections. Levon Kirkland's going to stop in. We got all kind of stuff tomorrow. So you should be here listening to the show. Here's a thought. If you're watching the show, tell your friends about it. Tell your friends that there's a chunky guy on the radio that talks about eating fish sticks. I can relate to people. I can. I seriously can. I want to thank the folks that called in today. I can't remember all of them. I know Hollywood called in congratulating Kansas and was upset about what I said about Billy Napier. He's always welcome to call in. Megan called in. Big Barney Ross called in. We appreciate everyone that joins us here on the program. You guys are awesome over there in the chat room, making the show flow. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Sometimes I tweet things I shouldn't, and then I delete them. Go and find some of those. More of the rundown tomorrow, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Jason's right. Man, if I invited Jay and Beg and Megan to my house and I made them a tomato sandwich, they probably wouldn't eat it. You city fools. Y'all know nothing about that. Y'all know nothing about no spam either. There you go. I'm gonna invite Jay and Beg and Megan to my house and make them a peanut butter and banana sandwich and a tomato sandwich, and watch their nose turn up like, I can't eat this. Can't eat this. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. I'll talk to you later on. Hey, I like some spam, Elijah. I ain't lying. Can't eat any of it right now. My coach, man, I got to share with you. I'm really trying to lose some weight. They got me eating some nonsense. It's sad. All right. I appreciate y'all. Even you blue spoons. We'll talk to you later on.